Welcome to Blue Heron Hill. Happy fall. All of the leaves are nearly off the trees. We had peaked just such a short time ago. Big windstorm, some rain, down it came. But today I'm at the new property and I am putting in a garden for next spring. So I'm starting with virgin ground, so to speak, covered with grass, and I'm prepping it now for planting in the spring. So let's go and I'll show you how I prep my soil and get this bed ready for planting in the spring. Come on. Okay, this is my area right in front of the two piles of firewood. So there is a strip, if you can see it, from that tarp area that comes all the way with a little bit of an arc around here. Now what I do is we're very fortunate. We live on a bay and the county comes to the bay and harvests the seaweed. Well, they have they need some place to put the seaweed. Well, I raised my hand and I said, I'll take it. So what we have here is seaweed. Now this top part is dried up. Down under here, it's actually starting to decompose. We got it in, I think in August, but already it's turning into soil. But so I laid down a strip all the way from that tarp all the way here. It's probably a minimum of 30 feet, I think. And I've been shredding some leaves to put on top, but as you can see, all of those trees have deposited many leaves here. No worry, it will decompose and add great nutrients to the soil. See, this area here is just very thick and grassy, and the grass under this area here has been smothered because of the thick layer of seaweed that I put down on it. I've started to tarp up this bed. Let me just show you. So far, it looks pretty much just like that. But over the course of the winter, it will decompose down and I will be able to plant directly into this brand new substrate that I'm making. My intent is to plant squash plants here. They're very space greedy, so I will plant them all throughout this area. Very sunny location. I may just plant right through this tarping here. I haven't decided yet. It would certainly work well as a soil warmer and as a weed barrier. So I'm getting my new tarping laid out for over here. This is a black plastic 6 mil tarp. This is what it looks like when I'm done. 25, maybe 35, and I misjudged. There's probably another 5 feet on this side. I may have a spare piece someplace to tarp that up. Ground looks very fertile as we dig under here, so I think that this will be an exceptional place to start gardening. So this is an inexpensive way to prep a brand new garden bed without having to rely upon tilling up anything, because the tarp and this seaweed that I have laid down here is going to kill all of this grass. And then by putting the black plastic on. It will also warm the soil on bright sunny days and kill off any of, again, any of the grass, help aid in hurrying up that decomposition of the seaweed and the leaves. So this is usually what I do when I start new beds. And you will hopefully we'll get back to this in the spring and see what it looks like underneath this tarping. And I'll be off and running on a new garden bed. Now, if you had watched my video, and I'll put it up in this corner, I think, when I introduced you to our new property, on down south of here was a leveled off portion that had some berms that we were going to push down because that was all topsoil. They pushed it up into these large berms in that opening. And I was going to plant down there, and I still may. And the bed's over there, it's going to be a quicker turnaround for planting next spring. That needs a lot of work on down there, and then may have to save that for later in the summer or even possibly next year. But that we'll have to see. So now I'm going to take you back to my main gardens, and I'm going to show you another way that I add to the enrichment of the soil in a method that's called trench composting. So I got to get back over there. So, but in a YouTube minute, I'll see you then. Bye. Back up to the main garden. Most of my beds are all tarped up. I have a layer of compost underneath them, or chicken manure and bedding. And as I did in the other, down at the little cabin area, this is how I will compost that material for next year. Marigolds are still going strong. I think we had a light frost last night. But anyway, I have one more bed that needs attention up here. It's the one right behind the camera. I'll show you that. And what I'm going to do is a different method. What I had in this bed before was edamame. Now, edamame has structures on its roots, nitrogen fixating nodules. I want that to stay in the ground so that nitrogen will be available for the plants that I put in here next spring. So what I'm going to do is the trench method. So I have 2 rows of edamame that I clipped off when I harvested, right at ground level. I'm going to dig a trench down the center of that. And in that trench, I'm going to put all sorts of compostable material. It doesn't matter what stage of compost it's in, even raw stuff that's coming straight out of my kitchen. Banana peels, vegetable scraps, all of that kind of stuff is going to go in here. I have a pile of compost that I dished up into that barrel right there. It has not finished composting at all. I grabbed it out of my compost pile. It's probably only a month or 2 old, and it's kind of cold composted because the weather is getting cooler and I couldn't keep it hot. And that's what I've been adding compost daily to, kitchen scraps and shredded leaves and such like that. That's going to go down the center of the trench. Let me show you how I'm doing this. It's very simple. Here you can see some of the stalks of the edamame, and and here's some over here. So I'm digging a trench down the center of this. Just putting the soil off to the side because I'm going to put the compost in here and then come back and cover it with the soil that I took out of the ditch. Doesn't have to be too deep. There we go. I've got a ditch, and now the nutrients are going to be laid in here, and they're going to be covered up with soil, and they're just going to compost down. Now next year, I don't have to plant anything directly here. All these nutrients are going to spread out through the soil. The roots of the plants are going to look for all those nutrients and grow in that direction. So it doesn't have to be neat and orderly. It just has to be able to be buried underground. So let me get this barrel that I have over here and start shoveling in some of this partially decayed compost. See, you can see there's grass clippings in here, there's leaves, there's some old stuff from the garden, a few sticks and stuff. Those will all decay. Even some feathers. Ditch is filled in, and I'm going to take this soil and put it on top. Well, there we go. It is ready. I need one more piece of plastic to fill in this part of the bed. So those are the two methods that I used this year. One, to start that new garden. Also, I did forget to mention, you could use cardboard down first, and that is used as a weed suppressant. And then you can put all sorts of your compostable materials down, and then the black plastic on top. And often that's the method I use. And then just this, ditch method of composting and getting ready for the new season is easy, not hard. And especially if your compost isn't finished yet. If it's still in the process of breaking down, this will break it down over the long winter. And you don't have to worry about this job in the springtime, and you can just directly plant into your garden. So thanks for following me on this video. If you thought this useful, give me a thumbs up. Comment down below any tips that you have, any methods that you use in adding more compost and more nutrition to your garden to get it ready for the springtime. So until the next time that we can go digging in the dirt, happy gardening. Bye.